If not the twisty one, is being froze to death. Like, it wasn't like she was froze. It was multiple layers of sprayed with water, and then it freezes. Sprayed with water, freezes. And then she fucking cracks down the fucking throat.
Let me tell you how it's about to go. Let me show you the towel you're about to throw. This is hip-hop, try to run in our house, we'll knock your ass straight out the door. I'm the enemy's epitome, the fantasy, my tendency to mentally give your career the death penalty. I instantly advise you to match my attention.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, Lostlegendstv. We are Ready to MC, and I'm Ray.
And I'm James.
Our next matchup in the horror bracket tournament.
We're moving on to combo.
Yep.
Which is a little bit of everything. Not everything, but a little bit of everything.
So we have
Saw
versus Hannibal Lecter, or Hannibal, if you want to call it.
Which is it's a great little matchup. I wouldn't have expected to see this. Like, just comparing the two, Saw is probably one of my favorites.
It's hard to argue with Jigsaw, dude.
Now, I know it doesn't got, I know fans don't agree with me, just like in my other ones, like my other favorites. But I love Saw. I'm a big fan of who is the killer, or how does this link up?
Yeah.
And if you tie it well for me, even with all the torture, gore, porn shit, I don't give a fuck about that. If you tie it well for me, I love it.
Well, Saw is notorious for having jumping timelines and shit. But they do it well. And the creativity of the kills they have in there, the fucking contraptions and shit.
Well, let's get into it. So you got the first Saw movie, which is it's very simple. It was low budget.
It was basically like an indie film almost.
It was an indie film. And it centers around the two main dudes. You got Dr. Lawrence and you got Adam, who are trapped in this bathroom together. And there's a dead dude in the middle of the room, and they're just trying to figure out why they're there. They piece the story together, and they got to figure out how to get out. And a lot of stuff gets incorporated, like Lawrence's family. There's this one guy who's helping the killer. And then there's the two cops, Tap, who's just obsessed with finding Jigsaw. And it's beautiful. I love how they portray that. The second one is a group of people in this one little house section, and you've got Amanda, who was in the first one, who was a part of it. They're all trying to work their way out to get away from the toxic gas they're inhaling that's killing them slowly. Amanda's a part of it. She kills the main cop, played by Donnie Wahlberg, while he's trying to find his son. His son has actually been safe the whole time.
That was a nice twist, too.
That was. Saw 3 follows along the story of Jeff. His son was killed in a drunk driving accident, and the killer was acquitted by the judge. And it's basically everyone who got his killer off, and he has a chance to save them, but he reacts poorly in the situation. He, at the end, kills Jigsaw and Amanda, and then that leads to his wife dying. You got Saw 4, which follows Riggs, this cop who's just determined to find all the answers and everything. The big thing is rushing in too early for situations, and it all ties together because to save Detective Matthews, who's been missing since part 2, all he had to do was just wait.
That's it. Just wait.
And it turns out Detective Hoffman is actually part of it, and he's taking over the Jigsaw kills from now. In Saw 5, there's these 5 people that are put in this one room, and the whole thing that they learn going throughout all the traps is, had they worked together, they would have survived easier. It would have been a much easier trip. All you had to do was pass this key along, do all this other stuff, and they couldn't do it. It also has Detective Strom, who's trying to figure it out, who the killer is. He ends up finding out it's Hoffman, but then doesn't believe Hoffman and his lies or whatever. Pushes Hoffman to a glass box, and that leads to Strom's death. You get to 6, a dude named William, who's the leader of a company or whatever. His whole thing is it's people that he's employing, because they screwed a lot of people over. There's a group of people on a fucking carousel that he has to decide who to save, and
that shit was brutal, bro.
That was. There was a person that worked for him that he saved, and then her objective was to kill him anyway, and she ended up dying for it. Family of one of the guys that he screwed over could have chose to save him, but because he screwed over their dad, set off the trap that killed him, and it was such a brutal trap. I'm not going to get to the kills. 7 is about a guy that basically lied that he was in saw traps.
Yeah.
He said because he had scars or whatever, and he lied, and Jigsaw knew about it.
Big mistake, buddy.
And basically, he challenged him to save his people that knew he was lying, and then his girlfriend, which he does not. And then Hoffman, the whole time, is trying to kill Jill Tucker. He succeeds in it, but then it turns out that Dr. Lawrence is actually helping Jigsaw, and he doesn't kill Hoffman. He does because like Hoffman had to have died in that place. He locks him in the bathroom where Adam and him were locked in, throws the saw away, and locks him in that motherfucker.
That was nice.
That was nice. 8 is Jigsaw. This is a lot of films. I'm trying to go as quick as possible. 8 is Jigsaw, which takes place before all of this happened, but you don't know that's what happens because it goes back and forth and jumping in timelines. They show you John or Jigsaw, but you know that he died in like 4, so there's no way he's still alive. But this is because this trap that they're in is started beforehand. It's a bunch of people in this like a big building, but there's like barn stuff in there and everything, and he's basically challenged them for stuff that they did wrong. There's one guy who sold a bike that didn't have all the parts to it to a teenager who just wanted a motorcycle, and they got him killed.
And then we move on to the Hannibal franchise. The first one, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Me neither.
Was from 1986. It follows this group of detectives and FBI agents. The main one is Graham, and he actually comes out of retirement to track down this tooth fairy killer. Graham had actually captured Hannibal Lecter before, and they're basically using Hannibal Lecter to capture the tooth fairy killer. Silence of the Lambs, you're introduced to Jodie Foster. She plays this Clarice Starling. Mm-hmm. Brings you the story of Buffalo Bill.
Mm-hmm. So many quotable lines from that.
So many. Like, Buffalo Bill puts the lotions on the skin. You know? Yeah. It was so creepy. Like, it's one of my 2 favorites of the franchise. Mm-hmm. But that's going on a tangent. Starling eventually kills Buffalo Bill after unknowingly going in his fucking house.
And then realizing
it was fucking Buffalo Bill, and shit got wild. So next you have Hannibal, which takes place 10 years after Silence of the Lambs. Continue with Starling trying to apprehend Hannibal since he escaped from the very last scene of Silence of the Lambs. Red Dragon is basically just a remake of Manhunter. They have a few pivotal points that are different and modernized, but it's basically the same film. So Hannibal Rising tells the story of Hannibal Lecter in his early years and his practice. This is also I wouldn't say the first film, but it's a pretty well-known film that doesn't feature Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. So it tells his early bringings, his backstory, how he gets into his practice, and it shows some of his first killings. It actually shows one of his relationships with this Asian woman, which plays a part in the story. So that's basically where you are in the Hannibal franchise.
The Silence of the Lambs is the best movie out of both franchises.
It was ahead of its time back then.
Yeah.
Fucking Jodie Foster. Her
brilliant.
Performance is fucking top notch. First thing we get into are plots, sequels, and freshness. Who had the better story? Who kept it fresh throughout the franchise?
I feel like both of them kind of kept it fresh.
It was kind of on par with each other right here.
I don't know. I think I got my answer depending on
I don't know. It's hard because
it's hard.
If you had Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, and Red Dragon, just those 3 films, it would have been probably one of the greatest trilogies ever.
And again, Manhunter, I just like it's the same thing as Red Dragon. Red Dragon just is more modernized, and it's I don't know. It was just easier for me to like get into.
Well, they fucking capitalized on Anthony Hopkins when he played.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know? And that's what I'm saying. Anthony Hopkins is Hannibal Lecter to me.
Word.
And then Saw, like the first one is just amazing.
So the answer to the question, which one kept it fresh?
Are you ready? On 3?
Well, let me do some meditation. All right, I got my answer. On 3?
Yep.
All right, so 1, 2, 3. Saw. Saw takes the first point.
And it's mostly because like Hannibal Rising is not a good film.
And like it was exciting seeing Hannibal Lecter, but you're kind of like, yeah, you know, that happened. Like
I said, like even if you count Manhunter, it's a really good franchise by itself. Hannibal takes a dip because of no Jodie Foster.
What was up with that recast, dude?
like Jodie Foster just wasn't there. Like, that's all I can think of. And they're like, well, maybe it's 10 years later, so let's just say she dyed her hair or whatever. And it's not that that actress doesn't do good.
Bitch looked younger than Jodie Foster.
She did. She
10
did.
years later.
But I'm saying, like, she's not that she didn't do good, but she didn't do as good as Jodie Foster.
What mainly sold me for Saw, like, you have a main story, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have subplots going along with the main, like, you build upon fucking John's story. Mm-hmm. If I had to follow a story to either read or watch, it's got to be Saw. It's got to be Saw. It has to be.
Like I said, and then the whole big reveal of John being the fucking dude who was dead in the middle of that's fucking amazing. That whole, like, the whole breakdown scene, you're like, oh, this connect, like, every time.
At the game, he's like, game over.
All right, so now we get into box office. If we look at the Saw franchise, the one that made the most money was probably 3. Made 164.9 million. And then the lowest one was 6 at 68.2 million. Which I think I would watch 3 more than I would watch 6. And I'm not even that big a fan of 3 or 6. But if you add up all the totals and everything, it comes out to a gross of $900 million. Which is fucking insane.
That's almost a fucking billion.
Yep.
Almost. So we get to the Hannibal franchise, and I'm just going to throw this out there. The first film, The Manhunter, lost money.
Yep.
Okay?
It didn't even make half of its budget back.
Saw did not.
In any of the films.
So the first film had a budget of $15 million. They only made it $8.6 million at the box office, which is also the lowest grossing in the franchise. Mm-hmm. The highest is the third film, which is Hannibal, which I was surprised.
Yeah.
I would have thought Silence of the Lambs.
It's because of Silence of the Lambs. Like, we have to go watch Hannibal.
They fucking capitalized on that shit.
100%.
So you take the average, and the gross amount for a Hannibal franchise is $675.2 million.
And the reason this is because Hannibal had a higher budget for all of its films. Mm-hmm. Like, the third one's budget was like $87 million. Like, the highest one you get for Saw is $20 million.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is Saw, its budget was almost nothing compared to fucking what Hannibal Lecter franchise had. Mm-hmm. And they still came out on top.
So Saw takes it. Round 2. 2-0.
It's 2-0. Let's see, Hannibal has to pull something out here.
Alright, so now we get into the critical and audience score response. We get critical for Saw. Lowest one you're going to find is 5. And it's a 2.92 out of 10. Mm-hmm. Which, again, I get it. I did not like Hoffman.
I didn't either.
Like, there were some great kills in 5. But
Did you dislike him more than Jeff?
I don't know. It's almost an even split for me. And then you get to the highest rated one, which unsurprisingly is the first one. It's 5.53 out of 10. And if you average out the whole total for all the critical scores, you get 4.16 out of 10, which personally I do not agree with. But it's whatever.
And then we get to the Hannibal franchise. This surprises me as well. Before I get to the highest and lowest, the runner-up to be the highest was actually The Manhunter from the 1986 film. It was a 7.2 out of 10, even though it did shit at the box office.
I told you, got a cult following, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how that works.
Yeah.
But the worst one, you guessed, Hannibal Rising, it only had a 3.9 out of 10. The best was actually Silence of the Lambs.
Not a surprise.
With an 8.87 out of 10. You average everything out, you come to a 6.29 out of 10.
Which means Hannibal takes it for critics. But then we got the audience score. The lowest percentage, it was 7 with 10%. I 100% don't agree with that at all. 10% for 7. And then again, the highest one was 1. Which I'm not surprised, but it was only 49%. I, again, don't agree with it. I don't think it should be like an 80 or nothing like that, but it should definitely be over 50%. You average it all out, comes out to 28.63%. And that baffles me.
So we'll get to the Hannibal audience scores. The worst, you guessed it, Hannibal Rising, 16%, which is god horrible. It's not the worst one we've had, but it's close. The highest one was Silence of the Lambs at a 96%.
Which is like the fourth highest one we've had, or third highest one's up there.
And even again, the Manhunt that fucking flopped at the box office had a 92% rating.
Mm-hmm. Fans liked it, they just didn't want to go watch it at first.
It aged well, you know?
Yeah, I guess.
You average that all out, you get 62.2%.
Which means for the critical and audience scores, Hannibal takes it.
Hannibal takes it. So, it's not going to be a sweep.
Yeah. So we get into the kill section now. If we're looking at the kills, so like in Saw 1, there's the tripwire shotgun kill. That was insane. The razor blade maze trap was fucking...
That was one of mine. This dude is in this fucking barbed wire cage, and he has to literally try to get himself out. Everything's fucking barbed wire. That's fucking...
And then in 2, the guy that puts his eye through the hole, and then the revolver like clicks. That's dope. And then the last guy who's like going around getting all the codes on people's necks, gets his throat slit by Matthew's son. I like that one. Those are like the two I liked.
The two I liked was actually the face contraption of the dude with missing the eyeball. That
was dope.
You can't really see it like visually, but I would imagine that contraption had like fucking spikes.
Yeah.
That went shh. So not only is it crushing your face, it's impaling your face. The other one I picked really isn't like a creative or a gruesome one.
It's funny, I guess.
It was that dumbass bitch who put her hands in that contraption with the razor blades. But the reason I picked it is that's a slow and painful death.
I guess.
Like, you're going to bleed to death.
Yeah.
You know?
She's so fucking dumb. That's why I don't even want to put it on there. Alright, so 3, you get the one where that girl gets her fucking rib cage ripped out of her fucking body, and she couldn't avoid that for anything. Because most Saw traps, there's a way to get out of it. She did not have a way to get out of it. She was just there. Bam. Then there's Jeff let his kid's killer get his neck twisted. Like, basically his whole body got fucking contorted, and that was gruesome as fuck.
That was one of my dude. That was fucking beautiful.
God.
Like his whole body, his arms, fucking legs, fucking neck.
Then Jeff's wife's death, where she had a shotgun collar in her neck and they fucking exploded her head. That's,
I actually mentioned the girl, the naked ass girl that got froze to death.
Okay.
Again, I like picking one that's creative, one that I would not want to die by. And it would be fucking... If not the twisty one, is being froze to death. Like, it wasn't like she was froze. It was multiple layers of sprayed with water, and then it freezes. Sprayed with water, freezes. And then she fucking cracks down the fucking top.
Alright, so you get to 4. There was one where Riggs ripped that woman's scalp off of her fucking head. That pervert dude who got dismembered, that was just a satisfying death, honestly. Like, he deserved to die once I figured out what he was. And then Matthew's fucking head getting crushed by the box of eyes.
Man, like, it was so good to see that character come back, and he died gruesomely.
Yeah.
Like, to build upon that, he was hung.
Yeah.
And, like, the ice he was standing on was fucking melting.
And they made it seem like it was going to melt, and he was going to land on this, like, grid that was, like hot, and that would, like, burn his feet, and that's how he would die.
Played your ass.
They played it, like, hard. All right, we get to 5. In this situation, this is where I'm starting to realize more and more about how bad 5 was. Because there was the only 2 kills that I counted was Megan Good's character being stabbed, then electrocuted, and then Strom being crushed to death. Strom being crushed to death would be fit into his category for me of a death I would not want to die by. That is one I would not want to die by.
One was that dude, like one of the very first kills, where he's laying on the table.
The pendulum.
The pendulum, like, and it doesn't just like a one full swing. He dies. It's like slowly, like deeper.
Yeah, it's just like slowly getting them. But I didn't like that because like it was an unescapable trap because like the dude had killed Hoffman's sister.
Yeah.
And it was just like fuck it.
I feel torturing. It fucking wasn't fair.
So that's one of the reasons I didn't like it because Hoffman made a bunch of traps that were just like. You're not getting out of this.
We'll pull him for Jigsaw like he's a good guy.
Yeah. We get to 6. There's the one girl that had the fucking spear gun vest where the spear fucking like shot through her fucking head. Oh, God. Then there was the people that were killed on the shotgun roulette carousel because that's just insane. That's one of
mine. That was beautiful.
Like, he had to choose, like, by putting his hand in this thing and, like, that's how you got saved. And he only saved, like, a couple of them. That last dude was like, "You look at me when you're killing me."
All right.
And then, of course, I had to put in there Will's death, which that's one I would not want to die by. Like they press the button and pull it out. I can't remember which one it was, and like it swings this contraption down that has just a bunch of needles with what was it? Hydrofluoric acid in it, and he slowly had his insides eaten out. God no,
bro, that was
7. I'm not gonna like really hold you off with it. Like there was a couple. Like my favorite part was the setup in that garage with Chester from Linkin Park.
Bennington. Like the whole sequence.
The whole sequence. Like he fails to like just all he had to do is just pull his skin was like it was attached to the seat.
Attached. That's all it takes.
Attached. And he had to reach up and pull this lever to stop everything. Couldn't fucking do it. And it sets off like the car falls down and crushes this girl's head. Fucking kills her. Rips this dude's arms and his fucking jaw out of his mouth. Hits one dude that's attached to the fucking wall. Takes him out. Then Chester's character flies through the fucking windshield into another car windshield, and he's dead. It's just insane. If we get to 8, Carly's death, where she got killed with the acid and the saline needles. Like there was 3 needles. One had a cure, one had acid, one had saline. She wouldn't take him, so dude just fucking said fuck it and just stabs him into her. And then the dude Mitch, who is inside that like spiral blade contraction with the motorcycle, and then he just gets fucking chopped up. God damn.
I had one. It's not creative. There's nothing special about it. But Anna's husband hanging himself, I picked that one just because of the fact of thinking I killed my child. Mm-hmm. In reality, I did not.
Yeah, like she legit blames the dude. That's the fucked up thing about it. Like she smothered the baby, then put the baby in the bed with him while he was asleep, and then came in there like, "Oh my God, what did you do?" Like he rolled over in his sleep and killed the baby. So he's just in the mental hospital, just riddled with grief, and to the point where he's like, "Fuck it, I can't live with this no more."
Fucking cunt.
Yeah,
she deserved it.
She deserved to die at the end.
Hannibal really didn't have a lot of kills. I mean, it did, but compared to Saw, not as many. But nonetheless, in Manhunter, I picked there was this guy in a wheelchair who was set on fire.
Me too.
That's insult to injury. You're already disabled. Nothing you can do. Set on fire. There's also a lot of gunshot kills in this movie. Silence of the Lambs. Now here where shit gets good.
I got 2.
Hannibal bites his fucking cop's face off. Pepper sprays him. And then beats the other cop to death.
I didn't put that one, but only because I put the part where he hung one of the dudes up Christ-like and he stole his face.
Was in fucking ripped
and
out.
Then stole his face.
Yeah.
And then I put Starling shooting fucking Buffalo Bill in the dark.
Then we go to Hannibal. There's a lot of shootings. A guy gets ran over. A woman gets shot that's holding a baby by Starling. And
the only other thing I put is when Ray Liotta's got his head cut off and then Hannibal ate his brain.
It just shows you how particular fucking Hannibal is about shit, dude.
And like I said, 4 is basically just a repeat of Manhunter.
And Hannibal Rising
is awful, dude.
And it had some kills in there, but nothing really notable compared to fucking Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal.
It's nothing that I want to talk about. If we go kill for kill, I don't even think it's a contest, bro. Even if we added like Hannibal Rising kills.
Let's be real here, guys.
It's Saw.
It's Saw.
Just kill wise. Honestly, even if we got to freaking fearfulness, I'd be more scared of the Saw trap.
Oh, absolutely.
I can at least fight Hannibal if I have to.
You ain't fighting these motherfucking contraptions.
No. I just had to hope I know what I'm doing.
With Saw, you're fighting yourself, basically.
Yeah.
You can survive, like, not Hoffman shit. But if John puts you in that situation, you can save yourself. You can.
Yeah.
It's all about willpower. Saw 3, Hannibal 1. Saw's going to move on. Let us know if you agree.
Going by the fan scores, I doubt you do.
We already mentioned filthiness, just out of good sport.
Silence of the Lambs is in the same aspect of like how Jaws was like better than all the Lake Placid movies, or the first Exorcist film was better than all the Omen films, stuff like that. But Silence of the Lambs is the best film out of both of these franchises. It's just nothing else helped it move up for us.
No.
And even if you just weren't a big fan of the Saw films, they stayed consistent the whole way through.
Yeah. Well, even though Hannibal was more successful in any of them, it was because, like, Silence of the Lambs. Like,
it's because of Anthony Hopkins.
And then Red Dragon, like, it was good to have Hannibal back, but it was basically just a repeat of fucking Manhunt.
Just more modernized.
Yep. And Hannibal Rising, it was not that good.
No.
So Saw takes it, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So tell us what you thought about that. Let us know if we missed anything in the comments. I'm sure you want us to talk about Hannibal Rising more. If you want to, we'll do a whole
we'll do a
breakdown of the film if you want to.
We'll review it if you want to.
If that's what you want. But like I said, listen what you got. If you're doing the bracket, let us know where you're at in the brackets. But until next time, y'all, deuces.
Adios.
What a slam, the thing is back to you, grouch, my crew just might roll on you like